Hey all, and welcome to Shadow Space, and we're commenting on another BCP video. This one is titled, "The View Demands Consequences for New York Giants Quarterback Hurting Black People Feelings by Supporting Trump." This was uploaded May 26th. This is being recorded May 27th, and link is in the description.
The NFL goes through a MAGA crisis once a year. However, I think this one is the most interesting. So Jaxson Dart, quarterback of the New York Giants, introduces Donald Trump and New York, and his teammates publicly on Twitter, Abdul Carter, quote tweets it and says, "Hey man, what the fuck are we doing?" And obviously, things were very civil. This is not the first time a New York Giants active player has criticized Donald Trump. Here you have Malik Neighbors agreeing with this person's tweets. I cannot read it out loud, however, you can read it yourself.
Then give me a moment.
Here you have Malik Neighbors.
Who drinks wine while playing games with kids? The President of the United States is a pedophile. Why aren't you tweeting about that? Lovely.
Agreeing with this person's tweets. I cannot read it out loud, however, you can read it yourself. To be fair, the conversation is what you expected it to be. It's people being like, "Hey, Jaxson Dart, what the fuck, man?" And then people being like, "Hey, Abdul Question is what you expected it to be." It's people being like, "Hey, Jaxson Dart, what the fuck?"
I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleased to okay. As a lifelong avid Giants fan, I'm beyond disappointed and flat out angry Jaxson Dart has chosen to align with an unhinged, racist criminal lunatic destroying our democracy. How is this going to go over with his teammates? This is a terrible look for the org.
Fuck, man. And then people being like, "Hey, Abdul Carter, shut the
During the NFL draft, Abdul Carter wore an Islamic political chain, which is family owned. Okay.
fuck up." I think this one right here was the most ridiculous, stating that, and
In a world of Colin Kaepernick's be a Jaxson Dart.
a world full of Colin Kaepernick's be a Jaxson Darts. And I waited a day to talk about this because I wanted everything to come out, and as expected, Abdul Carter puts out the tweet saying, "Hey, me and JD6, we are good. Keep your narratives to yourself." Funny enough, he uses the nickname JD6.
Did he delete the post?
Kind of like another J6 that I know about. I think everyone knows every inch of the dick in the NFL leans right, whether it be the players, the audience, the fan base. Truly, the only American sports league that does lean to the left is the NBA. However, this is very interesting to me because Donald Trump is so decisive to the point where even a conservative league like the NFL has former and current players actively taking a stand against him. I mean, you had many Philadelphia Eagle players not go to the White House. I am a huge sports fan. I love the Lakers, love the Dodgers, unfortunately like the Raiders. And I love it when athletes speak up about things they care about because they are not just an athlete. They're a person. They're a person with influence here in this world, and they have a lot of younger people looking up to them. And the more we have people speaking up and standing up for things that they believe in, the more it encourages people to not just look at politics as if it's just this controversial topic that is taboo and that no one should touch, but more so a conversation that everyone should have because it affects all of us at the end of the day.
This was how does hold on. We're back. So I don't remember what I was saying before the video cut out. We'll go back to it.
A real politics as if it's just this controversial topic that is taboo and that no one should touch, but more so a conversation that everyone should have because it affects all of us at the end of the day.
How does this guy announcing President Trump at a thing and this guy, how does that affect me at all? In any way whatsoever? Had I not watched that video, the other video about this, other videos, I think there have been multiple at this point, I wouldn't even know this was happening.
On the part of Abdul Carter, not on the part of Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart was
asked why should I
to do something to introduce the President of the United States? How many people get an opportunity to do something like that, regardless of who the president is? You may have hated Barack Obama. You may have hated Joe Biden. And some guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like those presidents, just like other guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like President Trump. But to put this out like a child.
Yeah, but there's a difference when you decide to do it as a team versus this guy being able to do this and
on
I don't
social
know.
media is ridiculous. And then when I heard, yeah, we spoke man to man, yeah, there was only one man on that call, and that was Jaxson Dart. You were a man who was late to meetings. You were a man who didn't live up to your draft choice. You're a man who wanted to wear number 56. And by the way, your idol, number 56, has introduced Donald Trump numerous times. So I don't want to hear this. So he made another just boneheaded error by going to social media.
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the liberal backlash against New York Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart for simply introducing the president at a rally that happened a few days ago. Okay, and because it was Memorial Day weekend, the mainstream liberal media, they're just now catching up to this story. And The View, they're reacting to this story, and I want to talk about it because nobody should be surprised by their reaction, especially the
No.
hypocrisy of the reaction. Because just remember, like a week ago or so, these are the same people who were upset with a Hollywood actor saying that, hey, I don't want to speak out about politics. It's not really my thing, right? I think that, actors, celebrities should just kind of keep it to themselves, especially if they're not educated on the subject matter.
Well,
And the Cackle Hands on the View
they were divided.
said, no. You are obligated to
Yeah.
speak out on politics. You're obligated to take a stand and to have a voice. But I think everybody knows what they actually really meant was no. You're obligated to speak out if you're liberal, if you support Democrats, if you hate Trump, you're obligated to speak out. But if you don't agree with the left, with The View,
They did say that allies should be speaking out, not necessarily everyone should be speaking out.
then you're obligated to shut up. That's actually what they meant.
See, and the only people applauding them, though, are people that agree with them.
I actually do think you have an obligation. I think we are at a crisis point.
See, but this is what's going on here. All the people in the audience are just people who agree with you.
In this country.
Could you imagine how different of a show this would be if you purposefully decided to have people as your audience that went against every single thing that you said?
I think democracy is.
Could you imagine if every time there were applause, there were boos? Could you imagine if every time they were supposed to congratulate them for saying something profound and meaningful, they got shamed for it?
Tory, I think when you
This
have
would be a
platform,
far
that
different
means you have
show.
an outsized voice, and when you have a platform, I think that you have a
It has
responsibility.
nothing to do with the platform. You can have a platform and yet have a voice that reaches no one. Having a platform means nothing.
To speak up about what's going on in this country. And
This is a privileged person in a privileged position saying, well, if you just do what I do, then you wouldn't have to worry about it.
view, silence is complicity.
And every minute,
we need every
day
single
we're getting
ally to
closer.
speak out.
Every day we get closer to an autocracy in this
Correct.
country. We're about to lose it. I think that people don't seem to understand what's going on.
But if I may say, okay,
Oh, you mean like in New York City?
Billy Bob Thorne's one of my favorite actors. I'm never going to say a bad word about him, starting with that. But B, a lot of this table criticized George Clooney when he wrote his Biden op-ed.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, let's see what The View has to say about Jaxson Dart. Because remember, they told us, if you have a platform, you must speak out, right? You must use your voice. But apparently, again, they don't like it when people use their voices who don't agree with them politically. And nobody should be surprised by their reaction here as they're calling for consequences. Consequences for Jaxson Dart simply for introducing the president. Amazing.
So, New York Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart surprised a lot of fans and some of his teammates Friday for this appearance off the field. Take a look.
What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
I want to thank Jaxson Dart. This is going to be a future Hall of Famer in my book. Thank you. Thank you, Jaxson. Great.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Jaxson.
Play the clip
I'd
about
like to
his
know, is
thighs.
there any woman in the audience that thinks they can
Yeah.
tackle that guy? Because I'd like to meet you. I'd like to shake your hand. I don't know. Jackson, you think you could play against women okay?
I don't know what all that was.
Say what you want about Trump, but he's funny, bro. He's funny as hell. I think Trump could have been a comedian if he wasn't a real estate guy, right? He certainly could have went into comedy. Again, say what you want, but he's funny.
But some people were not happy with Dart's open political endorsement. I mean, isn't he entitled
I don't understand how it's an endorsement.
to his?
It's America.
I mean, he's entitled to his thing.
For somebody to back a guy like Trump, whose history in discrimination and racism goes back to housing discrimination.
In the 70s.
In the 70s, DEI attacks, and posting pictures of the Obamas as apes. When he's on a team that's 55% to 60% the NFL, is that many people, that much percentage of black people, that is just the definition of stupidity and racist, in my opinion.
And the people on the field, having been on teams, you know, the whole point is we're in this together, and it's kind of got that foxhole mentality of we're out there, we're playing together. To not, even if that is what you believe, which I let anyone, that's the beauty of America, it's the most liberal belief, that we can all have our own belief. I get that. But there would be consequences. You're the quarterback, which is a central player on that field.
The leader.
A leader. And the majority, it's actually 75% of the New York Giants and the NFL as a whole are black or non-white.
Yeah.
To not think about the most recent offenses from the 8 video to these voting rights things, which even people that aren't that dialed in are recognizing, wait, are you now just going to marginalize and completely disenfranchise? To have thought about how that might feel to your team, the ones that are on the field with you, I would have handled it differently.
Who gives a shit? Right? Seriously. What she's actually saying is...
You're right, you would have brought a gun and shot him, so...
See, you got to think about how liberals are going to be offended, right? Let's be real. Let's be real. Well, see, he didn't think about...
How many people do you think you offend with this show? Do you think that you should be able to remain on the air, knowing that you potentially offend people?
The bad things that Trump has done to Democrats.
You don't care.
Right? But they're trying to make this a black
even if what you say is offensive, shouldn't you have a right to say it?
thing. That's what they're trying to do, and that's what annoys me about these people. They're trying to find a way to say
I never get it.
that Jaxson Dart should have thought about all the black players in the locker room before he decided to introduce the president, as if just simply introducing the president is offensive to black people, right? And it's like, okay, so are you trying to say that you should not be allowed to support?
I guess. That would kind of imply that he didn't tell his teammates that he was doing this. Not that that would be a big deal or whatever, but if he had told them ahead of time, oh yeah, I'm gonna be introducing Trump at this rally or whatever, then they would have been able to deal with it then, and it wouldn't have spilled into social media, and it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. I don't know.
The president, simply because your colleagues or because the team that you work with is mostly black, your teammates are black, right? Are you saying that every black person in that locker room is offended?
Yes.
Right? Okay, now again.
See, because if you aren't offended, then you're not black.
Can I apply the same logic, right? All the anti-white initiatives from the Democrats, DEI, okay? Overt demonization of white folks.
Mm-hmm.
Should I be upset if a black athlete decides to introduce some Democrat that supports DEI, right? Should they be upset because the white athletes in the locker room could be offended by that? Right?
No, because white people cannot be offended by racism because they are the race that's in power, and therefore they cannot be harmed by racism because they have the ability to manipulate society to be able to do what they want. So you being racist towards them is just you having leverage over them because otherwise you wouldn't, or something.
I think most reasonable people would say probably not, right? It's kind of stupid. But again, it only applies one way, right? That logic only applies one way, right? In the sense that as a white athlete, you're supposed to think about what your black teammates or how they may feel before you can make your political beliefs known, in which he didn't do it on the field. He didn't do it at an NFL event. He did it in his own personal time during the off season, right? Like,
No,
if an
that's when he did the event. I don't know. It sounds like he never actually told his team that he was doing this.
Is going to speak out on politics or be involved in politics at all, he did it in the perfect way, right? In a way that it should be done if they're going to do it, right? But my point is that that logic that these people use is never applied the other way around. They never have anything to say about black athletes who are overtly political for a party that is anti-white, right? The Democrat Party is anti-white. And they make this very well known. They want overt discrimination against whites. So again, is a black athlete supposed to think about how his white teammates feel before coming out here and endorsing the anti-white Democrats? Right? No. That's silly, right? That would sound very, very, very silly. So again, my point is that this criticism only comes when it's an athlete endorsing the wrong political party, right? When they endorse the wrong political party, now the knobs come out and these people boo-hoo, whine, and crying and they're upset. But if you can be a black athlete and you can literally protest in the locker room, you can protest on the field, you can be the NFL and put Black Lives Matter on the field, right? Put out overt political messages, right? And these people support that. That's totally fine. It's totally okay. But to simply introduce the president in your own free time during the off season at an event that's not NFL related at all, not New York Giants related at all.
No.
Oh, well, see, that's too far, right? That's too far. You're getting too political. It's crazy, man. It really is.
Maybe he needs a little extra padding.
Well, maybe. You know, I don't know. I know what
And
happens.
then we continue to make fun of people with brain damage. Does that mean that I get to make fun of retards? If you're going to sit here and make fun of him for being brain damaged because he gets hit too much, then I get to make fun of actually stupid people who have cognitive problems and say that they're stupid, right? Like,
when people get all over me, when I say something that people don't like.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you think about it? I do think about you. And, you know, this is something he's going to have to deal with and his teammates are going to have to deal with.
That's the thing for me is that I see it as a matter of free speech. He has every right to endorse the president, and his teammates have every right to criticize him for endorsing the president, which is what ended up happening. Yeah. And it brings me back to remember the whole shut up and dribble debate. A lot of the right came for LeBron and Kevin Durant because they were criticizing Trump. And
it's not the same thing, bro. It's not the same. I hate when they keep bringing this up. They were doing this on the court. They were doing this on the field. They were doing this in the locker room. They were using their platforms on the court during the game, right, in order to make political statements. That's not what Jaxson Dart was doing. It's not the same thing. Any liberal trying to compare this to Kaepernick, to LeBron, to what happened in 2020, it is disingenuous, right? It's disingenuous. It is incorrect. It's not the same thing, okay? You're comparing apples to oranges. It's not the same thing.
We're saying shut up and dribble. It goes both ways. These people have voices, they have agency, they have rights, these athletes to do what they want. But I do think of the Michael Jordan quote, Republicans buy sneakers too, so do Democrats. And he just alienated a lot of Democrats with this choice. I think the easiest thing...
Yeah, he just gained a whole lot of Trump-supporting fans too.
see, what polarizing rhetoric. You alienate people on the right. You push people on the right away. You don't care.
No, it is what it is.
Is like weigh the consequences if you're going to do it and don't complain on the other side if people aren't happy.
Well, and you need your linemen to protect you.
And well, you sure do need your offensive line to protect you. But the thing is, this was a choice, and it was a political one.
You know, if there are any teams that are looking for a star quarterback, there's one who potentially should just leave.
And you know, we're just not in normal times anymore, and so we know that when there have been
you're right. We can't actually say what we want, because if we do, then we'll put an enormous target on our back by the opposition. Sitting here talking, saying people who are on the right side of history need to speak up.
Movement, You had athletes
What an enormous
speak up. You had
fascist
someone,
pig. Holy God.
like Muhammad Ali, who took a stand against the Vietnam War, and then you've had Juan Carlos, who took a stand against what was happening here
You're
in the
right.
U.S.
We shouldn't have been in World War II either. We should have let Germany just stomp all over Europe and not done anything about it.
I think when you know the history of this president and you know
I
the
mean,
biases of this president, for a certain community, the black community, for me, if this feels personal. And I think if you are someone who attacks the community to which I belong, and you support that, that tells me two
you are an enormous hypocrite.
things. Either one, you agree with his politics and you agree with his biases, or you can be adjacent to it, stomach it, and that means you are complicit in my view.
Yeah, there's a whole Congress.
Then everyone at this table is the exact same person as the worst dictators in history.
It's all kinds of folks.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that his right to learn about consequences, because I think he's very young and maybe doesn't realize that there are consequences to these things. You know, he's entitled.
See, now there are consequences for speech. That's not free speech. If you are punished for what you say, then that is not appropriate. That's not okay. You would not be okay if I were to call you a dumb whore bitch, Whoopi.
Book says if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you.
Yeah.
Okay? If I got free speech, you got free speech. I don't have to like your speech.
Then you don't want free speech.
I don't have to like anything you say.
Fans, like Alyssa said, fans, supporters,
Amazing.
Yes.
they can respond in kind.
That's right. And maybe that's what maybe it's not just how to take care of your money they should be teaching folks coming out of school, but what consequences are and what these kinds of things mean. So, we all live in Loin.
Yeah.
Don't we, though? We live in Loin. We'll be right back.
Consequences. Consequences for introducing the President of the United States. Consequences.
Like how they have to constantly get community noted on this show because they constantly say things that are wrong.
Offended black people. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Honestly, I'm so annoyed by these people always using black people as a tool to push the Democrat Party agenda, right? Like, have you guys noticed, like, there's been a whole lot of that lately. It's been a whole lot of just, like, using black people. Things that have nothing to do with black, like, Jaxson Dart introducing had nothing to do with black people, right? You could have picked any issue that you have a problem with, that the president, has been involved with, economy, foreign policy, whatever, right? They pick black people. Say, well, see, this right here, this is offensive towards black people, right? You got a lot of black teammates. It's like, why are you using black people?
But then if it's white people, no, you can be offensive to them. It doesn't matter. You don't have to think about their feelings.
I'm not offended.
They have to accept the consequences of their actions.
At all. I don't think that Jaxson Dart is racist, okay? I don't think that him supporting Trump says anything about his viewpoints on black people. I don't think it has anything to do with black people. But these people always love to use black people to push the Democrat Party agenda. And it's so tiresome, right? These people are not a representation of black people. Whoopi does not represent black people. Sonny Holston does not represent black people. The Democrat Party...
I don't know, because they claim to be black people. Okay. They claim to be the only black people in the room.
As a whole, in my opinion, doesn't represent black people. Not everybody was offended by this. There's a lot of people who don't care, right? And it is what it is. But because, again, they don't like the fact that he spoke out with political viewpoints that they disagree with, they're calling for consequence. And I don't know what those consequences are supposed to be, but I don't think that there's going to be much that comes of this, right? I don't think you're going to have a giant boycott, right? I don't think that much is going to be done at all, because ultimately, at the end of the day, He'll work it out with his teammates if any of them are offended. Okay, he's already worked it out with Abdul Carter. Okay, they had a conversation. It's over. It's done with. And honestly, I mean, again, is anybody surprised? Right? Nobody should be surprised considering this man's background that he supports Trump. I mean, it's just the logical thing to do, right? If you are a well-off athlete, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to support Republicans, especially and you're one of these, high-tax blue states, right? Like New York, yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense financially to support Republicans. And ultimately today, I think at the very least, bare minimum, this is a financial decision, or more so than anything, right? Protect his money, his pockets, right? And what these people really should be doing is reflecting on why is it that so many of these athletes seem to be supportive of Trump, right? From a policy perspective, I think that would be a more interesting conversation. Why is it that he felt the need to introduce the president during that event, okay, for Mike Lawler, who is running for re-election in New York? Why is it that you have these athletes like Jaxson Dart, who plays for New York Giants? Why does he feel incentivized to speak out on behalf of the president? Again, a lot of it comes down to Democrat policies. Seriously, I think at the very least he's protecting his check. And that's the real conversation that should have been had. But again, they love to distract from the real conversation with race. And this has absolutely nothing to do with race at all. Nothing to do with race at all. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most important.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I got upset again. Just... they don't care. It's completely irrelevant to them. It's one of those where we are in the place that we are because of people like this. Honestly. It's because they have platforms, and yet they take no responsibility or accountability for any of the things that they say. Ever. They say whatever they want with impunity, and nothing happens. Like... these people think that it's okay for people to believe that the earth is flat. These people think that it's okay for people to believe that having children is one of the greatest evils that humanity can bestow upon itself for the future. I don't know how any of these people at this table could actually sit here and say that free speech is a good thing. If you believe in free speech, then you believe that advocating for rape is something that people should be allowed to do. If you don't think that that's appropriate, then maybe you shouldn't say that people should be able to say whatever they want. If you don't think that it's appropriate for people to have sex with children, you probably shouldn't say that people should be able to say whatever they want. If you want people to be able to go to this studio and murder every single one of you in cold blood, maybe you shouldn't allow people to just say whatever they want to say. But no, we have to protect people's free speech. We have to protect people's right to say whatever they want to say, even if it's every single one of these people should be murdered. I should be able to say that, right? I'm not saying that people should be doing it. I'm saying that that would be the best outcome for society, is if every single one of these people were involuntarily deleted. Free speech, right? And you can say that that's okay for me, and I can say that that's okay for you, and we can just keep the whole cycle going. Do you see how it doesn't do anything? Do you see how it just perpetuates itself? Do you understand that the rhetoric that you say on this show every day harms people, and you don't care? These people are such hypocrites. They do such damage so flippantly. They don't even care. It's embarrassing. To assume that these people are on the side of humanity is embarrassing. These people are on the side of death. That is the only thing that these people praise, is themselves and nothingness. It's pathetic.